A very good afternoon, Team Zimbabwe, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. We continue to take a look on a crisis happening in the nation Zimbabwe. There is a crisis of corruption, whereas millions and millions are being looted. Let us take a look on the issues raised here by Advocate Mahere, because she is doing the Lord's work to make sure that she holds those in charge accountable. Millions of US dollars added, and the opposition is taking a lead in exposing just that. Ignore everybody who is saying the opposition is not speaking. Advocate Mahere, Nelson Chamisa, Ostalos Ziba, we are talking about these issues on daily basis, exposing corruption, exposing looting, exposing all sorts of shenanigans which are destroying the economy of Zimbabwe. Advocate Mahere says, who funds this goat scheme? Is it taxpayer? Has there been any fraud, mismanagement, or corruption surrounding the supply of goods for this scheme? If so, have the suspects been apprehended? Why are the goat prices inflated? Did the supply contract go to tender? This is something very important, and we need to take a look onto a story which was raised right there as a presidential goat scheme. It's called the Presidential Goat Pass-On Scheme, where 635,000 goats were distributed nationwide. And the scheme seeks to ensure food security and power in communities across the country. Let us delve straight into this story. So let me tell you one thing. I have been in the rural areas for a very long time. Hapana musha unonza unambudzi. This is a fact. Misha unonza inambudzi kumusha inoverengeka. We live in the rural areas, and you can count one or two out of 1,000 households without a goat. But our government went on to a government a goat scheme, presidential goat pass-on scheme, where they bought goats for the villagers who already have goats. You see, this is the problem I have with this government. I could have accepted if they had bought makweme, to say, okay, we need to have a better breed. Let us buy makweme and pass them on to the villagers and on to the people. But we need to take a look onto the prices right there. These goats which were distributed and supplied were costing $100 and something each goat. And we know the most expensive goat in the rural areas is around $50 to $70. That is the most expensive, but we saw these prices being inflated. And if you take a look on the breed of goats which are right here being shown by Nick Mangwana and others, these are not breeds which can cost over $100. It can't be. This is the honest truth. What it means is this is looting. $35,000 and $590,000. So those bucks, I believe that if they had bought pure boer goats or pure bucks, and it was going to be very, very reasonable and distribute them. Maybe it was going to be reasonable when you are dealing with the issues of size of it, weight of it, etc., the breed itself. But the kind of goats which were bought and distributed by these boys are not that standard goats. So that is very important for the people of Zimbabwe to note that this government is not doing enough. Here is what we have been lobbying for as young people who are living in rural areas. We have been saying we need water. That is the major issue. We cannot have goats without water. And for how long am I going to wait for those goats to circulate? Because each and every chief was given around 3 goats. Each chief, 3 goats. So how many are the families in an area governed by the chief? And for how long will they take to reach me? Let's say they are going to have a year on that family, and a year on that family. How many years will they take to reach to me? Which means 85 million United States dollars was simply wasted in this scheme. It was looted. Imagine if they had put 85 million in an irrigation scheme in Mwenezi. How many households would they have helped directly? These are the facts we have been raising to say, take that money in millions, inject it in irrigation. They would have saved the people of Mwenezi so much, who are finding it difficult to run projects because of lack of water. They would have saved the Mwenes people from evictions, which they want to do, so that they bring in a private investor who is going to inject 5 million and have an irrigation scheme. You see, this is a fact. These are the issues which are affecting the people of Zimbabwe on a daily basis, and we have to raise them because they affect our own people. This government is not sincere. These people are not sincere. It happened in 2023. That is when Nick Mangwana reported about it. But right now, we are seeing Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission saying they want to take a look onto the allegations of fraud which happened during that particular period where Moses Mbavha was given this tender, the presidential goat scheme tender, and he delivered goats. The major question is, what was the real cost? Was this done according to the priorities? No. So when they come to us and say Zimbabwe does not have money, is it true? Definitely no. That is not true. Zimbabwe does have money. Zimbabwe does have capacity, but we lack leadership. We do not have leaders leading us. That is the problem which we have as a nation. How do we resolve our problems? We need to make sure that we deal with the issues of corruption, number one. Number two, we deal with the issues of priorities. We must have a person who understands what are the priorities of young people. If it is in agriculture, what is it which they lack? What is it which they cannot raise for themselves? Consider the issue of market. Consider the issue of market. CAC must be running, making sure that they take our goods, process them, sell to Europe, sell to Asia, sell to other countries. That is the assistance we need from the government. Imagine if they had put 85 million United States dollars into CAC to capacitate CAC. So they will tell you we are roping in an investor who is coming with 20 million to resuscitate CSC, but they will take 85 million and then give 85 million to a bogus person. Honestly, this issue is about corruption. It's about corruption. So you see that we need to deal with this issue. We need to deal with this issue and understand what is really happening and how this is affecting the people of Zimbabwe. So we were told about Bowstead beef. An investor who is supposed to come who never came. How much is that investor going to pour into the CSC and own it? Why can't we take that money, we put it together? So Bowstead beef, in around 2021, they pledged to inject 130 million towards the resuscitation of CSC. Imagine if 85 million had been put into that scheme. It was going to be above half, which means we were going to start from somewhere. So as farmers, as young farmers, personally, I don't need goats because I have my own goats. I can buy my own goats. We can, as a village or as a group, buy our own bucks and we rotate them amongst us as a group. We can do that. But what we do not have is a viable market where we are going to sell our goats, where we are going to sell our chicken, where we are going to sell our guinea fowls, where we are going to sell our turkeys. There is a turkey market in South Africa, but we do not have that capacity as young farmers to access the South African market. This is the reason why we say, let us have CSC running so that we can be able to supply to CSC and CSC supplies to the whole world on our behalf and the government will be funding it. You see, This is it's very, very, very simple. And in the long run, it will it will solve the issues of employment. It will solve the issues of neglect in the rural areas. We'll start to do our own things. But the government is not ready. The government is not serious at all. So it is what it is. I agree with Advocate Mahere. Corruption is happening. But will these leaders have an answer? No.